As you desire. Of course.
Yes. I can feel the magic fading. Oh, I had forgotten how it feels not to be caged.
Kitty, what's happening?
A wonderful thing, my dear, for both of us. Anywhere. Close your eyes, my darling. This will take but a moment.
Yes, this is what I wanted. To see, to feel, as mortals do. Yes, I will go down to my father. He will be happy to see me.
Nope. Pick your own one. I thought I was going to ask her where she'd go and then still stop her.
Yes.
Kitty?
A wonderful thing, my dear, for both of us. Betrayal! You will not take the girl. She is mine.
Kitty, you're scaring me. I won't let you inside me. I won't.
Boobies. Oh dear. It's easier to have a mad I killed their friend. Kitty.
It's all right, Butterfly. You're safe now. All the bad creatures are gone. The phrase to activate Shale is Duelan Hug. Yet you still want that blood. I wouldn't if I were you. Now we should go, and quickly. Thank you again. We owe you our lives.
Let's see. You sparkly but not lootable bastard. How are you again? No, okay. I think I was missing his head. Yeah, a little bit. But only a little. Alrighty. Let's go activate this guy.
I knew that the day would come when someone would find the control rod. And not even a mage this time. Probably stumbled across the rod by accident, I suppose. Typical. I stood here in this spot and watched the wretched little villagers scurry around me for, oh, I have no idea how long. Many, many years.
Oh, you poor dear. That would be really, really boring.
And the villagers had no idea they were being watched. Creepy.
Then one wonders that you wouldn't be grateful to the one who allowed you to stretch your legs, Gollum.
Another mage, I see. Charming. I was just beginning to get used to the quiet, too. Tell me, are all the villagers dead? Familiarity breeds contempt, as they say, and after 30 years as a captive audience, I was as familiar with these villagers as one could possibly be. Not that I wish their fate on them, no, but it did make for a delightful change of pace. Perhaps I may have forgotten after all the years of being called Gollum. Gollum, fetch me that chair. Do me a good Gollum and squash that insipid bandit. And let's not forget, Gollum, pick me up. I tire of walking. It does have the control rod, doesn't it? I am awake, so it must. I see the control rod, yet I feel, go on, order me to do something. And, nothing. I feel nothing. I feel no compulsion to carry out its command. I suppose this means the rod is broken. Don't be ridiculous. Well, I wouldn't mind killing the birds. Those evil birds and their foul droppings. I could crush them all. I suppose if I can be commanded, this means I have free will, yes. It is simply What should I do? I have no memories beyond watching this village for so long. I have no purpose. I find myself at a bit of a loss. What about it? It must have awoken me for some reason, no? What did it intend to do with me? May I ask what sorts of things it gets up to for which I could be so potentially useful? It refers to the Darkspawn, the very creatures that destroyed this village. The Darkspawn are an evil that must be destroyed, it's true, but not as evil as the birds. Damnable feathered fiends. I suppose I have two options, do I not? Go with it or go elsewhere? I do not even know what lies beyond this village. Did I? I remember that I had a former master. The mage with the furry brows who poked and prodded and barked orders. Did I kill him? I hope I did kill him. Perhaps the last order he barked was "God, stop crushing my head." Ah! Yes, I'm just funny that way.
Are you certain you want to bring that thing with us? It could be dangerous and large. Good point. Better it than me, anyhow.
I will follow it about then. For now, I am called Shale, by the way. This should be interesting. Yes. Pigeon crab. Yes. Pigeon crab.
Yes.
Blast it.
Yes.
Russian.
Lost and damnation. Indeed.
Blood and damnation. Indeed.
Of all the...
Yes. Pigeon crab.
Yes.
Indeed.
I think it's someone else, but so far, yeah, that's probably. If Liriana kind of needs to, yeah, level up. Huh?
Of course.
Camp. I'm kind of hard to give gifts.
What do you need?
Hmm. Oh, yeah.
A fine gift. You have my thanks. I am grateful. 'Tis thoughtful indeed. Interesting. Interesting. Interesting.
Is that for me?
That's a wonderful thought. I don't know what to...
Snookums.
Oh. Oh, that. Merely reflecting on the hopeless nature of the task in front of it. The most likely outcome is that it and its companions will become a stain on some rock for the Darkspawn to tread upon. I shall be moved to a single tear by the tragedy. I think not. I am made of pure rock, skin to core. At best, I can become a pile of dust, but a smear I will definitely not leave behind. That's for softer, squishier things like itself and its friends. What's that? Did it hear flapping wings? There may be pigeons nearby. We should be alert.
Dude really has a problem with pigeons. I think I can equip it with something. Let's see.
Hello. The boy's a bit simple, but he's rather good with enchantments. One of those tranquil fellas actually called him a... what was it now? A savant. I had no idea such a thing existed.
Enchantment!
You and your friends are formidable folk indeed. It's good to have you along on the road. I hear news from Dinnerham that Tyrn Loghain has been declared a new regent. It makes sense. His daughter being the queen. That's what I've heard on the road anyhow. Take it for what it is.
Take it as bad news.
I hear that Tyrn Loghain, the regent, is calling for new levies of troops. He wants to rebuild the army we lost at Astagar. Thing is, there's not a lot of spare men to be found. Out of Dragon's Peak, there's press gangs roaming around, grabbing any free man they can lay their hands on. That's what I've heard on the road, anyhow. Take it for what it is. Look, we don't rob people, all right? We don't take things from people that need them. The things in the Lord's tides, what good did they do lying there? I brought them back to Orzammar, where people could look at them and remember. It's not all that different up here. There are places long abandoned by the humans everywhere. Even more now with the Darkspawn coming. People flee with good reason, but they forget things. Things with value and meaning. They leave them behind because they're frightened and desperate. And sometimes, my boy and I, we find our way to these places before the Horde descends, and we save these things. I take them away so the Darkspawn don't get them. It's not so bad. They destroy everything they touch. That's what I tell myself too. Ah, these are dark times indeed. Dark times, my friend. Some folks aren't happy about Tyrn Loghain being named regent. There are rumours he had something to do with the king's death.
He
This is
did.
the most ridiculous thing you ever heard. The Darkspawn killed him, sure enough. But Tyrn Loghain couldn't save the king from that end, and nobody could.
You didn't
That's what
try.
I've heard on the road, anyhow. Take it for what it is.
I'll take it, alright, sure.
With King Caelan dead, the throne falls to Queen Anora. She's made her father the regent, however, at least for now. I think Caelan's father, old King Merritt, would have approved. That's what I've heard on the road, anyhow. Take it for what it is. There's knights from Redcliffe spread all over Ferelden on some kind of mission, but I hear that they're starting to become rare to find. Maybe they all went back to Redcliffe. More likely they got tired of searching for something that can't be found and abandoned their search. I wonder what Earl Eamon is going to do without any knights. That's what
I heard on the road, anyhow. Take it for what it is.
I hear tell they held a funeral in Denham for King Caelan. The Grand Fair called for a full day of mourning, and there was a procession a mile long passing by the Brosnan. It's too bad they don't have a body to properly burn. What happened to him at the hands of those creatures, it's unthinkable. That's what I've heard on the road, anyhow.
Take it for what it is.
I heard from some travellers that something bad might have happened in Redcliffe, overrun by Darkspawn, maybe. There's no word from the village at all. A merchant friend of mine said he encountered someone fleeing the place and there was nothing waiting for him there but death. He wisely turned around and came right back. That's what I've heard on the road, anyhow. Take it for what it is. I hear the Dwarven King has passed on. Old as he was probably poisoned or assassinated. That's how the dwarves normally go out, isn't it? That's what I've heard on the road, anyhow. Take it for what it is. Thank the Maker we didn't lose Tyrn Loghain at Ostergard. He pulled his troops out just in time, so it said. Without him, we'd be lost. That's what I've heard on the road, anyhow. Take it for what it is.
You heard a lot of shit on the road, dude. Got anything else?
Something's going on at the Major's Tower at Lake Cannonheim. Nobody knows exactly what, though, and the Templars aren't saying. Exactly what we need, isn't it? Let's hope the Majors are just cooking up something to deal with the Darkspawn. Somebody should be, after all. That's what I've heard on the road, anyhow.
Take it for what it is.
what it is. Some hunters who range into the Brazilian forest say that a Dalish clan there has fallen to some kind of sickness. The blood, most likely, poor sods. That's what I've heard on the road, anyhow.
Take it for what it is. Anything else?
I've heard a lot of stories of bands of Darkspawn roaming the countryside far north of the Kokori Wilds. They just seem to appear out of nowhere and disappear just as fast. That's what I've heard on the road, anyhow.
Take it for what it is.
I hear from folks travelling the East Roads that there's werewolves in the Brazilian forest. Actual werewolves. They haven't been around since the days of Damon and his ilk. That's what I've heard on the road, anyhow.
Take it for what it is.
There's a nasty rumour going around that the Grey Worms are evil and that they worship the Archdemon. They're the ones that cause the blood. You're getting upset, see? That there was no use for them anymore, so they summoned up the Archdemon to do their bidding.
You realize you're traveling with a bunch of Grey Warriors.
That's what I've heard on the road, anyhow. Take it for what it is. I don't know what to say. Nothing I can think of at the moment.
Oh, really? I finally got it again? Oh, how should?
You and your friends are formidable folk, indeed. Good to have you along on the road. I'm sure you'll be pleased with the goods my boy and I have collected, and with your discount. your friends are formidable folk indeed. It's good to have you along on the road. Of course. Good fortune to you and yours.
Goodbye.
Raven. Could have sworn I had a stash. Nope. Okay. Well,
Something you need? I'm sure either my boy or I can help you out. I'm sure you'll be pleased.
feast day.
I'm to keep this, am I? Fine. I'm to keep this, am I? Fine. Terrible idea.
A terrible notion. I am grateful. 'Tis thoughtful indeed. Interesting.
Oh, thank you. That's very nice.
Why, thank you so much.
You have my thanks. You have my thanks. You have my thanks.
Interesting. Interesting. Interesting.
Oh, put it down. Time to see if I get him down.
I await your command. At times, perhaps, a world full of people and buildings and things was all very foreign to me. If I wished companionship, I ran with the wolves and flew with the birds. If I spoke, 'twas to the trees. For a time, but one can only remain a child for so long. I recall the first time I crept beyond the edge of the wilds. I did so in animal form, remaining in the shadows and watching these strange townsfolk from afar. I happened upon a noblewoman by her carriage, adorned in sparkling garments the likes of which I had never before seen. I was dazzled. This, to me, seemed what true wealth and beauty must be. I snuck up behind her and stole a hand mirror from the carriage. It was encrusted in gold and crystalline gemstones, and I hugged it to my chest with delight as I sped back to the wilds. She was not. Flemeth was furious with me. I was a child and had not yet come into my full power, and I had risked discovery for the sake of a pretty bauble. To teach me a lesson, Flemeth took the mirror and smashed it upon the ground. I was heartbroken. And a foolish one. Flemeth was right to break me of my fascination. Beauty and love are fleeting and have no meaning. Survival has meaning. Power has meaning. Without those lessons, I would not be here today, as difficult as they might have been. They did indeed. To return to your original question, perhaps my time in the wilds was indeed lonely, but such was how it had to be. I find myself at times wondering what might have become of the girl with the beautiful golden mirror, but such fantasies have no place amidst reality. I await your command.
Bend over.
We're in camp, so 'tis as good a time as any. I'm here because Flemeth commanded me to aid you. Why? Do you wish me to leave? I can do so if you prefer. If I wanted to leave, then I would go. I remain, so do not ask such pointless questions. I await your command. So, full of questions, are you? Well, that depends, does it not? What does she seem to be? You mean, is she truly the Flemeth of legend and story? Tell me, how much do you know of the tale? The one that the chastened still tell of my mother, to frighten them into obedience. I can relay what Flemeth once told me herself, and you can decide whether or not 'tis the truth, if you desire. As the tale is sung by the bards, there was a time when Flemeth was young and beautiful, a fair lass in a land of barbarian men, the desire of any who saw her. Many centuries before this land was even named Ferelden, the tales say that Flemeth fell in love with Osen the bard, and fled the castle of her husband, the dread Lord Conobar, and that he swore vengeance for her infidelity. In truth, my mother claims that 'twas Osen who was her husband, and Conobar the jealous lord who looked on from afar. Lord Conobar approached young Osen and offered him wealth and power in exchange for his lovely wife, and Osen agreed. The life of a bard is a poor one, and love fades in the wake of hunger. 'Twas Flemeth who suggested the arrangement. All would have been well had Lord Conobar kept his end of the bargain. But he was a foul man who bargained with coin he did not possess. Osen was led off to a field and slain, left for dead. Flemeth spoke to the spirits and learned of the deed, and swore revenge. that was not the point. Conobar had no honor, so she would not have him. Flemeth begged the spirits to aid her, and 'twas they who slew Conobar. The demon the legend tells of came later. Lord Conobar's allies chased Flemeth, you see, chased her to the wilds, and there she hid. There she found the demon, and he made her strong. The legends all speak of the great hero Cormac, he who defeated Flemeth and her great army when she invaded the lowlands centuries later. All lies. The truth of the matter is that there was never an invasion. As Flemeth tells it, the Chastened never raised an army under her banner, and she never fought with any warrior named Cormac. Cormac led a brutal civil war against his own people, and later claimed it was to vanquish evil that had taken root amongst the lords. Thus, he was hailed a hero. He was only attached to the legend much later. Perhaps 'twas due to the great war with the Chastened that eventually came, but Mother claims not to know how it began. You ask if I have sisters. I have asked of this myself. The stories tell of many witches of the wilds after all, not just the one, and these tales existed long before I did. Flemeth refuses to speak of other daughters, if they existed, so should I believe I am her first? I doubt that too. The demon within her has transformed her into something else. An abomination, perhaps some would say. I know not. I only know my mother is clever, and she is part of the wilds as it is part of her. But she is no immortal. She bleeds. A blade in her heart would kill her like any other, were it lucky enough to find her. I do not believe everything that Flemeth claims. Often it seems her bitterness has coloured her memories. But on the whole, yes, I believe this tale, if not all. How often is this usually? Always? If not always, then when is it not true? There are more things in this world and the next than you or I could ever hope to understand. What Flemeth became is a mystery, I suspect, even to her. Flemeth tells it with far more embellishment than I, but you are welcome. Dare I ask of your own mother? Few are abominations of legend, 'tis true, but I find myself curious nevertheless. Oh, then you have my sympathies for what it is worth. Which is very little, I am certain. It matters not. Let us move on. I await your command. We're in camp, so 'tis as good a time as any. I'm here. What? Do you wish me to leave? Are we? Then why do you up? I await your command. So, full of questions, are you? I assume you were actually asking whether Flemeth herself gave birth to me. Truly, I do not know. I once asked Flemeth that very question, and she merely laughed at me. 'Tis not inconceivable that she could capture a chastened man, or perhaps change to a more attractive form to attract him willingly. I find it more difficult to imagine her with child. As a matter of fact, I remember her being younger once. She had black hair, much like my own, long and lustrous. But how could that be if she is centuries old? Has she become wizened only recently? Or are the tales of her legend only that, and nothing more? I do know the tales of Flemeth having many daughters, even though I have never met another. And Flemeth has always treated me as her blood.
You are her blood.
Must one be a doting and simpering moron to be considered a suitable mother? Flemeth taught me everything I needed to learn. How to survive, the meaning of power, the truth of men. If other mothers do not teach these things, then I believe them the lesser. Room for coddling and weakness? Why should such things be desirable? To indulge in love is to indulge in delusion. Surely a Grey Warden such as yourself does not believe otherwise. I see. Well, we all have our weaknesses, don't we? I await your command. So, full of questions, are you? I was not born such. 'Tis a skill of Flemeth's, taught over many years in the wilds.
Many years in the wilds.
The chastened have tales of we witches, saying that we assume the forms of creatures to watch them from hiding. When a child is alone and separate from his tribe, that is when we strike, dragging the young boy kicking and screaming to our lair to be devoured.
Delicious.
A most amusing legend. Changing her form, certainly. Devouring lost children, I cannot say. She has not done it in my experience, though in truth my lifespan is but a fraction of her own. Why do you ask? Is there something specific you wish to know? The form of an animal is different from my own. One may study the creature, learn to move as it does, think as it does. In time, this allows one to become as it is. I gain nothing by studying another human. I already am the same as they are. I learn nothing. So the answer is no, my human form is the only one I possess. Anyone with sufficient will, but the act of transformation is a magical one. 'Tis a spell and thus requires a mage's talents. If you had a notion to learn such a skill for yourself, sadly, you must remain disappointed. There were nights when the wilds called to me, 'tis true. You look upon the world around you and you think you know it well. I have smelled it as a wolf, listened as a cat, prowled shadows that you never dreamed existed. But my life is as a human. I am under no illusions to the contrary. They do not shy away from me. To their senses, I believe, I seem like any other of their species. As to what they think, I truly cannot say. Just as I am still human, no matter my form, they are still animals. Thus they cannot speak, even were I to ask. Oh? Then I have no doubt your people do much to keep their talents well hidden from humans. I wonder if I was to ask one of your keepers of the origin of their magics, if there would be any relation to what I was taught. I may even ask my mother about it some day, though I doubt she would tell the truth of it even so, such is her way. Indeed. Have you an opinion on my abilities, then? Am I an unnatural abomination to be put to the torch? No doubt it would. But enough of such talk. Let us proceed, lest the dust gather on us. I await your command. So, full of questions, are you? I cannot teach you, no. But any other mages that cared to learn, yes, I could do that. Send whoever you wish my way, and I shall teach them what I can in the camp, provided they possess the will to even make the attempt.
Yeah.
I await your command. So, why do you ask me such questions? I do not probe you for pointless information, do I? Beg pardon then while I jump for joy. What is it you asked if I grew up in the wilds? A curious question. Where else would you picture me? For many years it was simply Flemeth and I. The wilds and its creatures were more real to me than Flemeth's tales of the world of man.
Yeah.
In time I grew curious. I left the wilds to explore what lay beyond, never for long. Brief forays into a civilized wilderness.
How does her arm thing stay on?
For the most part, Flemeth taught me well. For all that I had been taught, however, the truth of the civilized lands proved to be overwhelming. I was unfamiliar with so much. So confident and bold was I, yet there was much that Flemeth could never have prepared me for. Equal parts daring and foolhardy, perhaps. Only once was I accused of being a witch of the wilds, and that by a chastened who happened to be travelling with a merchant caravan. He pointed and gasped and began shouting in his strange language. Most assumed he was casting some curse upon me. I acted the terrified girl, and naturally, he was arrested. Who cares? As I recall, he was executed. The point being that I was able to move through human lands fairly easily. Whatever humans think a witch of the wild looks like, 'tis not I. Not that I did not have trouble. There are things about human society which have always puzzled me, such as the touching. Why all the touching for a simple greeting? To begin with, yes. What is the point of touching my hands? I find it an offensive intrusion. There were many nuances that Flemeth could never tell me of. When to look into another's eyes, how to eat at a table, how to bargain without offending. None of these things I knew. I still do not understand it all, truth be told, but then I gave up long ago any hope of doing so. When I returned to the wilds last, I swore to Flemeth that I had no intention of leaving again. Yes? Let's ignore the entire Darkspawn threat and the presence of a simpleton as your only other Grey Warden ally, then. Not that I lack appreciation for the intent of your comment. Thank you. Well, let's get on with it before the ground opens up and swallows us, yes?
Guess there's enough of that for now.
Indeed.
Yes.